So I'm gonna do three shots for the dead now. Here's for the dead: Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris.
A friend of mine sadly passed away 2 weeks ago. Same age as us. Doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. Second of my two friends that don't drink, don't smoke that died. Meanwhile, all these criminals are walking the earth.
Oh, and everything. Well, you know what it is that everything is just by chance. Like Proverbs, everything is vanity. I'm being serious. The Book of Solomon, it shows us it's a mystery, man. But let's move on. So anyway, so let's say we're going to talk about three things. I'm just saying that because it's a nice title. Three things we learned from Shanghai. Okay. The first thing we learned is that Piastri is on his way to being the number one driver at McLaren, and this is why I'm saying so. That McLaren car, Lando Norris asked for it, from what I hear. He asked for a car that was more fronty and more like Verstappen's car, difficult to drive, and now he's getting what he wants. The past 2 weeks, Norris has made several errors. He's still fast, but he's made several errors, and he's not adjusting to that car as well as Piastri. His new complaint this time is that they said his brake wasn't working. Cool. I think he's pushing that car too hard. He doesn't know how to drive that car. Let's give congratulations to Piastri. Beautiful weekend, drove perfectly. Managed to do well in the sprint race, sprint qualifying, and did well in the final. Miserable week as far as I'm concerned for Norris. He qualified in P6 for the sprint race, and then he qualified in, what was it? I think he came. What did he come for the qualifiers for yesterday?
He came second in the race.
Third. He qualified third.
Russell
third
was
in
second.
qualifying.
Russell was second.
Qualifying. He let Russell out qualifying, so it's showing he can't handle that car. Piastri has been given a $20 million contract or £200 million contract. It's clear to me that Piastri, in his third year, is already on his way to being the head driver. Did you see the way Zach Brown shook him afterwards? I think Zach Brown and the team like Piastri more than they like Norris. Norris has a big problem. He's a great driver, but the way he drives is more old school with fluid, long corners. But Piastri is more of a short corner, fronty driver like Verstappen. So I think what we're seeing now is that we're going to see a title fight between these two. If it hadn't been for Norris slipping out in the rain last week, he'd be leading the championship, right? Not Norris, Piastri slipping in in Australia, he'd be leading the championship. And many believe he would have beaten Norris last week too, because he was on Norris's tail. Norris had the excuse that, I was just driving conservatively to preserve my tires. Story, you were scared as hell. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, I quite agree with you. And I think, Piastri was flawless. From the first turn, there was a maneuver I did in the first turn that just took him ahead of everybody. From the first turn right up to, I think he pitted in lap number 15. His driving was composed. It was calm. It was flawless. I've not seen Piastri drive this well. It was a brilliant performance.
No, he's a fast learner. This is his third season, and his learning curve is exceptional.
It was a brilliant performance, and it shows that he has really mastered that car. And once again, McLaren proved to everybody that they have a supercar, an all-round, well-balanced supercar.
As usual, I'm going to challenge you on that. They've lost their balance. Would you agree? They don't have the same type of balance they used to have. They still have pace.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe you'll disagree. Because you have to remember their car has a lot more grip in the front.
If you look at the way Norris drove, I kind of agree with you. With you. But it looks as if Piastri seems to understand the car better than Norris. Or maybe just Norris is just...
No, yeah, Piastri is adapting to it. So, but what I'm saying is that, so for example, the car is fronty and it's a little bit off balance. And because of that, and because it took the DRS, it's still fast because it has unbelievable grip and it still has general all-around downforce, still has good downforce. It even still has good balance between the front and the back. But if you notice, they were 5 kilometers per second slower on the straights. And whenever they got to the straights, you saw that too, Kunle. Verstappen was almost passing them several times when they were in the straights. Did you notice that? But then when they get in the corners...
Yes, and Mercedes and Russell as well.
They've lost straight line speed. So what I'm saying is that they're still the best, but it's not like 2023 where Verstappen was beating people by 30 seconds. So I think that there's a weakness in their chain. It's a small weakness. I don't know if any team can exploit it. Maybe Russell can exploit it because he beat Norris in qualifying and he was coming third. But I think that once they take away that front ring and after week 9, you're going to see a lot of teams catch up to McLaren. The question is, will it be too little too late? I think the only two people
he temporarily overtook Norris in second until he lost that advantage again.
here's the difference, actually, to be honest with you, and we don't know it. McLaren still has, like you said, the best overall pace, but I think it's because of their tire management, because of that contour they have in their brakes. I think that's what's saving them. If not for the tire management, I think Verstappen could beat them. So their tires don't degrade as much. But for Norris's tires are degrading because he's pushing it too hard. What are your thoughts on that topic, Kunle, about McLaren and their supremacy right now?
Yeah, McLaren, I think, are definitely the faster car. I think they lost a little bit of the gap that they had from the first to the second race because of the adjustment. But I think it's not enough. I hate to sound obtuse here, and I'm not saying it just to be obtuse, but I still think that Norris is going to have more success than Piastri. As bad as Norris was this afternoon, I mean, coming second, driving badly is not a bad thing. So I think that if Norris played more, Norris didn't have the pace on Piastri. Piastri clearly had more pace than Norris.
Norris came sixth in the sprint qualifier, and that's lost points. He had a miserable weekend. In the heavy second. Yeah, no, in the sprint race he came sixth, and then in the final race he came second. But he's underperforming.
The main points are in the race. So he lost some points.
He's underperforming because he only leads Verstappen by like 3 or 4 points. What I'm saying is he's not maximizing. Okay, let me ask you this question. If Verstappen was driving Norris's car, where would Verstappen be in relation to the rest of the field now in points?
If Verstappen was driving Norris's car, he'd be ahead of Piastri. That's no doubt.
Yeah, and so what I'm saying is that Norris is a failure. Even if he wins, he's a failure because he's not maximizing what he has. And I agree with what you're saying, but here's what I say. Norris last year had the fastest car and he lost. I think Norris has a mental problem. He's stuck on Instagram and he cares. I think he cares about what people think and he gets nervous and he makes mistakes when he's under nervous. But skill wise, he's just as good as any driver. Maybe I'm wrong. Sorry, continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, there is a battle in terms of who's going to dominate. Where's the next race? When's the third race?
Japan. Suzuka.
Japan.
High speed.
I like Suzuka circuit, and there's also
I think Piastri's going to win that one there. Yeah.
That's a complex. That's a fun circuit. It's also fun on. I love that circuit on Gran Turismo, the computer game. It's a fun circuit.
You mean computer? Not we are Yoruba. It's not computer. It's computer.
Computer game. I like to play it on my computer game.
You remember in Yoruba when they change English words into Yoruba, they just like rice, iresi. Oh yeah.
I think a lot of things that happened. I mean, I can't go into why Norris did badly in the qualifiers without going into what Ferrari did in the sprints. Because
Ferrari be cheating, man. Ferrari be cheating.
Ferrari messed up. Ferrari, from what I understand, Hamilton said that they changed the setup of the car for the qualifiers and the race, and it was much worse, and that was why.
I don't know what's wrong with it. Why would you change it? Keep it the same.
They just and then when they went into the race, they got their strategy wrong. They almost got it right with changing, but they should have brought in Hamilton a couple of laps earlier, and they should have put him on medium.
They were suspended. You heard the news, right?
Yes, they've been disqualified.
Oh, Ferrari was disqualified.
Yeah, for cheating.
Leclerc was disqualified Hamilton's
car had the wrong brake settings, and Leclerc's car was too light. That's why I'm saying.
And the car was perfectly fine. Are they disqualified from the sprints as well, or is it just the race?
They lost all their points for the race. They lost all their points for the.
But they keep the points for the sprints. Yeah. So the faster car that they had in the sprints, they should have just kept it and done better than what they've done. Instead, they went and cheated, had a slower car, and got disqualified. Congratulations, Ferrari. We should give them a big round of applause.
Is it any surprise? We all know that Ferrari has always had a fast car, but they're really bad when it comes to team strategy. It seems like they're bad when it comes to engineering, too. They don't even understand their car. They make dumb moves. In the last race, Vasseur said in Australia that they used they made a setup for the rain, so they didn't do well in the qualifiers. But they also didn't do well in the rain.
Too much red wine and too much of this.
Yeah,
let me tell you.
Too much vino.
Yeah,
too much vino and too much, when they say they want to change the car, they change it like this, Let
me tell you the truth. The Germans and the British are better engineers than the Italians. The Italians are better poets.
And they're better at teamwork as well. because I noticed that Mercedes, Antonelli, the way I like to judge how good a car is by the second drive.
Yeah.
Because that's where you know how good the car is. Antonelli's done all right. I can't remember where he finished.
Antonelli, I think
he finished ahead of Hamilton, that's for sure.
Yeah, he finished ahead of Hamilton. No, I think Hamilton was leading him until he got.
No, everyone finished ahead of Hamilton. Now they're disqualified, so they finished ahead of the Ferraris.
Oh, I didn't hear about the disqualification.
Yes, I'm just hearing it now. I mean,
Hamilton had illegal brake settings. He had illegal. The level of his brake was too low. It was too low.
Antonelli finished sixth.
Yeah, but
this is the updated results after the disqualification. This is the updated results.
Antonelli came seventh before that, or seventh or eighth. Yeah. So Leclerc's car was too light. So look at Leclerc's car was too light. Hamilton had illegal brake settings. I'm not saying that they were cheating, but that team, Ferrari's team, is in shambles, and they've always been in shambles. Remember what you said, Mr. Johnny. 2 years ago, they had the fastest car in F1, and they still lost. I'm going to say
Ferrari is just their team is poor. Their team strategy is poor.
And here's another thing. Let's talk about Hamilton. Hamilton, in relation to Russell, Hamilton took a two pit stop strategy, and then used slow tires on the strategy, which was a big mistake. Now he can argue that nobody could believe it'd be a one stop, but this goes to show you. And what's ironic is that his teammate Russell was the one who led the way and showed everybody that he could use one. And this is why I say Russell is the man. Russell was the first person in that race on his own to independently say, we don't need to do two stops. And everybody else followed it, but Lewis Hamilton was the only one who didn't follow it and pitted it. If not, Lewis Hamilton would have finished higher. What do you think about that, Mr. Johnny? Yeah.
I think Johnny came and went. Is he back?
What do you think about that, Afalabi? Then we'll go to Kunle. Yeah.
Yeah, I quite agree with you. I think it was a bad error by Ferrari, some kind of miscalculation. I think they were thinking that the other teams along the line or towards the end of the race would have a lot of degradation on their tires, but their forecast and their calculation was wrong. Those guys were able to maintain their one-stop strategy, and they did very well.
I'm not going to blame them too much because I was even surprised, but it just goes to show you the difference, or maybe gives us some insight on why Russell was able to beat Lewis Hamilton last year. Because Russell.
Why was Ferrari disqualified?
It was because of the weight of the car. FIA says the car.
That's Leclerc, but why was Hamilton disqualified?
Hamilton's brake pad.
Okay, Hamilton's one was this a skid block. It's supposed to be a particular height from the ground. Hamilton's one was 8.5, I think. I think the regulation says 9. So I think
he made it shorter to get more downforce. To get more downforce.
The whole idea was to get more downforce.
So to be clear, I'm not saying that they were cheating. I'm not saying that they were cheating, but it looks like cheating. If you have two guys on the team and this is what happened to Russ. But let's go back to my other point. This gives us some insight into maybe why Russell beat Hamilton last year. Last year, Russell took responsibility for all of his decisions. You know, everybody thinks Russell, because he's a fine boy, that he's because like blonde girls and fine boys, they're stupid.
Gorgeous,
very smart guy. Very smart boy. George is the smartest guy in the grid, but he disarms you with his feminine beauty or whatever. You think he's dumb. This guy early in the race told his team, I'm only going to do one stop. And the rest of the team said, oh, George is right. And they followed him. I'm saying George is a leader. What do you think, Afolabi? He's a leader.
I agree with you. In fact, I so like the way the guy does his thing. And at the end of the race, even though he didn't win, he said he did well to finish P3. And
he even passed as well. Norris, but Norris passed him because he doesn't have the speed. The car doesn't have the speed.
Yes, the car doesn't have that car is limiting his ability, really. And if you look at his performance across the weekend, considering the sprints, the qualifiers, and the race, I think he did excellently well.
He was the driver of the week because even Verstappen made mistakes. Verstappen made several mistakes this weekend. Russell, right now, I'm telling you, he's other than Verstappen, he's the best driver on the grid after Verstappen. Because Verstappen's on another level. Russell will not do this type of bullshit that Norris is doing. He won't do it. What are your thoughts, Kunle? Yeah.
Mr. John is back, though.
Yeah, I don't think.
Mr. John.
I think Verstappen actually did quite well, given that I think the Red Bull car is getting worse.
Yeah, but he did make a mistake. Verstappen lost 3 places at the start. I like Verstappen, but I'm going to say he made a mistake at the start of the race. He did oversteer at the start of the race. He cost it, but he made
a bit of a mistake, but he remained flawless after that. His car isn't spectacular, and he still managed to get past the two Ferraris. And that was down to his driving. I think they need to sort out their car.
And Russell did the same. No, well, Russell was ahead. So I'm saying Russell came second in P. Do you know what it is to beat McLaren for qualifying as fast as they are? That means that Russell pushed that car to the limit. What do you think, Mr. Johnny?
Yeah. I don't think Russell is intelligent. Yeah, of course, intelligent. But I would say he's more ballsy. I'll just say he's more ballsy, as in, you know, he he's always all these bold moves, and that's actually quite good. I mean,
but they never go wrong. They never go wrong.
We'll see. But he made this. As in this, he made one. The last time he made a bold move on tires, it actually cost him. Like,
no, he won, but he was suspended because the car was too light. No, hold on. He made that ballsy move in Belgium last year on one lap, and everybody was closing in, and he won. The reason that he lost it is because they said his car was too light. So what I'm saying is that let me tell you, whether you like it or not, Johnny, I'm going to disagree on this. Russell is a strategy.
I'm going to see that if that's going to happen if that's going to happen this season. But for sure, I just know he's ballsy. I mean, I've noticed that he's making some really bold. And you know, guess what? When they moved for the to go for the one stop, I was watching it. I was like, I'll tell myself, if I was Hamilton, I'll just make one move, one stop, and let everybody because what's his name? Stroll. Was it Stroll? Stroll did well with but although he messed up
points though. Stroll didn't.
But they didn't take advantage. Yeah, they didn't take advantage of what they were supposed to have. He should have come in when everybody was coming for their lap
changes. Yes.
Yeah, he would have come in at them. After the second turn, he should have come. Then he would have come in at the same time. Then he would have raced with them at least. Then he would have been in points.
Let's be very methodical this year. You're right about that. Last week, Hamilton and Cole were in the lead, and they could have got on the podium, and they waited too long to pit. And this is what I say. Hamilton is 40 years old. Schumacher will never make strategical mistakes. I'm not blaming. And the problem is that Hamilton leaves it up to his team. He's naive. He needs to take strategy into his own hand. That's my only argument.
I think he should learn that lesson.
Yeah, but he should have learned that in Mercedes too. Remember when he let them in Mercedes. Remember when he was starting sixth on the grid, and they told him to use soft tires when you're sixth on the grid. He was supposed to use hard tires.
He wasn't happy about that. I remember he was bitching about that.
But my thing is that they also told it to Russell, but Russell said "fuck you" to his team and did what he wanted. This is why I'm saying Hamilton doesn't have that killer instinct. Verstappen will say "fuck you" to his own team. Verstappen's team told him to stop doing sim because he stayed up until 4 a.m. He told them "fuck you." Verstappen needs to do that.
Lewis Hamilton is a black man. He has to do what he won't tell him, but
they can surprise him. Can surprise everybody.
Yes,
I'm a black man. He doesn't like me. So what I'm trying to say is that I think Hamilton he's smart, but he's allowing himself to be bullied because he's black. He's allowing himself to be bullied. He knows
his mistakes are being made. He still goes along with that, even though he's
So you know what it means? It means he's like someone who's taking himself to his execution, like he's sacrificing his own life because he's scared to say no to his boss. No, you can't do that.
He says no sometimes.
Hamilton is bigger than F1. If Hamilton tells them, "Fuck you, I'm going to do my own thing," they can't do anything to him. They can't.
Remember Singapore? They messed him up in Singapore last season with the Mercedes.
So this is a big issue. With the soft tires, but he should have disobeyed them. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I've not seen Hamilton ever disobey anybody, but I think
he needs to do that. He needs to do that. Verstappen does it week in, week out, and I think that's a weakness. What do you think, Afolabi?
Hamilton has to. He has to. In my own opinion, I think he has to take responsibility for some of these things. He was complaining about the length of the pit lane. I mean, at this level, and with the pit stop strategy and the pace of the car, he should have, factored so many other things in and taken a wiser decision on that. It's obvious that the Ferrari car doesn't have as much pace as the others. And then you now go for the tire management strategy that you chose. I mean, for his experience and his team, Vassell has been in Ferrari for quite a long time. So he's quite, I think he's an engineer, the top engineer. He's quite experienced. Yeah. So I didn't expect all of this. And then if you look at the errors they made that led to disqualification, when you are doing your setups, you make sure that your threshold, you are not too close to the threshold.
Yeah,
they were
That's
too close. So if you are not too close to the threshold, then you won't fall foul of some of these regulations. I think they only have themselves to blame, and I think Hamilton to take it on.
So Kule and Johnny, just in case, I'm going to let you know, they came out of this weekend with no points because they were disqualified.
No, just to mention also, Gasly was disqualified as well.
As well.
Yes, because of the lightness of the car, because of the weight of the car as well.
They got their sprint points.
They got their sprint points.
Yeah, but here's the thing: they just lost. Basically, they lost 27 points they lost 50 points to McLaren. Just from that one thing. Constructors
pure team incompetence. That's pure team incompetence because
that's what I'm saying.
Been making those kind of mistakes.
And they've just given McLaren a head start, a very, very healthy head start.
Oh yeah. So last round. So I'm going to talk to Mr. Johnny. What do you think? I think Piastri, man, in 2 years or maybe even this year, he's going to be the number one driver at McLaren. What do you think? Yeah.
Well, they're gonna rack it out, man. They're gonna rack it out every time. Every race, they're gonna rack it out. Both of them.
Yeah. So here's my reasoning. So here's the story. They said that Lando Norris asked the team to build a car like Verstappen's, and now he's asking him he's saying this one is too much. Let's go back, and the team said no. And they're saying from an analytical point of view, Piastri is made for that because Piastri is a front end driver. Norris isn't, and Piastri uses edge-to-edge corner like Verstappen. What's his name uses beautiful corners like Button. Norris. So this car is not made for him. So now he's saying, please change the car, and I think that's why he's in trouble. This car, they've now built the car for Piastri. That car is built for Piastri. What do you think, Mr. Johnny? That's what I hear.
Yeah. I can't remember what happened to Norris. Why he didn't even win. I mean, but
no, you know what it is. Norris is being out-qualified by Piastri this year, and that's the difference. Because
Lance Stroll got 2 points. So sorry, Lance Stroll finished in the points.
So, Mr. Johnny, what's happening is that Norris is having problems in qualifying. Even when he got P1 last week, he had to wait to the last second. And in sprint qualifying, he came 6th in qualifying. So he's struggling with qualifying. Norris is struggling with all-out performance. In a long race, he has better race pace than Piastri.
Yeah, Lance Stroll finished 9th.
Yeah, I'm gonna just watch that race. Watch that that thing develop because I know that
Norris had brake problems. But here's the thing: Norris was.
Oh yes, he had some with his pedals, right?
Yeah, but it was late in the race. Up until the last 5 laps, Piastri was leading him by 7 seconds. That means that Piastri was. That's a big gap. And here's the thing: if not, and remember, Piastri was closing in on him in Australia before he crashed out.
Yes, before he was actually better.
If you really look at it from a hypothetical position, Piastri has really been dominating Norris so far these past 2 Grand Prix. It's just
who's leading the title race so far?
No, Norris. You know why? Because Piastri slipped out because of the rain. If not for that, Piastri would be leading it. And not only that, Norris is only leading Verstappen by 5 or 6 points in a superior car. So what I'm trying to say is that Norris,
that 10 points Norris between Norris and Piastri.
Oh yeah, but here's the thing. So here's what's going to happen. As Falabi said, the McLaren car is fast, but Mercedes and Red Bull are closing in the gap between them because McLaren was beating Mercedes and then by 15 points last week, if not for the rain. They've closed the gap, and by the middle of the season, when they take away their front wing, and also they have to reduce their back wing again by double for the next race. You know that, Afolabi. Take us from there.
So we're going to see what's going to happen there now, Abi.
And then after 6 weeks, they have to take away their front wing. So what I'm saying is that this season is going to be a roller coaster. Nothing is for certain. What do you think, Afolabi? Yeah.
So I agree with you. And I like the way McLaren is handling everything. After all the celebrations, congratulating his team, Zach Brown said off to the technical.
You have to come closer, or you're going to have to start bringing in
your sound's gone.
Or you're going to have to start using the microphone. You make your choice, man, because this is
it was telling them that they're off to the garage. They're going to sort out a lot of things. That they're getting ready for the triple header, starting with Suzuka. So they're already thinking of how the next race cycle will affect their cycle. So I think that they really are focused this time around.
To me, the only team that can actually beat them now is Mercedes. That's what I think. I'm not saying that Mercedes will beat them. What I'm saying is Mercedes is in a position with Russell to give them a challenge. I don't think Red Bull is there right now. That's what I think. What are your thoughts, Mr. Johnny? One more lap for each of us that we have. Me and Afolabi have a Buddhist show in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I'm not joking though. Yeah. What are your thoughts? Last time?
That's the way it looks. It looks like McLaren, Mercedes now. You know, and
they have the same engine. Both teams have the same engine, right?
Same engine, both Mercedes engines. And what's his name? What Mercedes is that they also have a strategy. They're very quick out of the corners. Even Leclerc was like, and that's one of the reasons why Leclerc could not even overtake Russell, because he said that Mercedes is like a drag star out of the corner. That's
their style. Slow into corner, fast out. Slow entry, fast exit.
Yeah, so there was a collision. There was a collision at the beginning of the race that took off. I think it was.
But you know what's funny? He made the car fast.
Yes, it made the car fast. It was like a DRS kind of wing, kind of flexy.
I think that's what exposed. I think that's what exposed the weight problem with the car. I guess that's what exposed the weight problem with the car.
Leclerc was.
They added the weight of the wing too. So, Leclerc's car was light. I think these guys are cheating. To be honest with you, they got desperate. What were you going to say, Mr. Johnny? Yeah.
I mean, I've just that discovery of a new kind of wing, front wing set. I'm sure they would take a picture of that and then kind of like investigate that, because it really made a difference. I thought that Leclerc would be like lacking behind that.
That bookstore in Lagos, Serendipity.
Yeah.
Accident turned into luck.
Which driver? One of the drivers, their front wing just came off without hitting anything. Really weird.
No, that was Leclerc and
no, not Leclerc and Hamilton. Later on in the race, one of the cars, I think I can't remember the front wing.
Okay, one of the Toro Russells. One of the Toro Russells.
Yes.
I think it was Hajao. No, it was new Yuki.
Yeah.
Yes, that was bizarre because I saw that happen. I didn't see
we're yet to find out what happened to Alonso. He retired because of brake fire.
Yeah.
Yes, his car's on fire.
What place did Stroll come? Yeah.
I think Stroll. Let me just.
Stroll came 9.
No, that's okay. As long as you come top 10, it's okay. Because if you come top 10, it means you're top 5 on the grid. Okay, for car. Okay, so you guys, we're going to do part 2.
He was in a battle with BM.
Ocon did well as well.
Can all of you guys make it tomorrow for part 2 so we can talk about the lower field teams? Yeah. Okay. Okay, but before we go, Kone, your last thoughts, then Afolabi's last thoughts, then we're done. Yeah, okay. What are your last thoughts, Kone?
Okay, so we're poised. I'm looking at 3 teams and 1 wild card now. And the 3 teams in descending order from top to bottom is McLaren, then Mercedes, then Ferrari. Now Red Bull is Verstappen. I'm sorry, it's just Verstappen. And Verstappen by himself. Even though Ferrari actually has a better car than Red Bull, but they're not going to compete with Verstappen because their team is so poor and Verstappen is so good that he's going to get past those 2 Ferraris. And there's going to be a toss-up between him and Russell, with both of them interrupting the McLarens. I think Russell is going to split the McLarens. Like you said, he's looking like he's a third-place driver this season, and he could build upon it next season. I think this season is definitely McLaren's to lose. McLaren should be winning this season. As to whether it's between Piastri or Norris, I don't know. I just like Norris more. I don't mean to be obtuse when I say that.
No, you're not being obtuse.
I don't mean to be obtuse when I...
Sometimes I will argue with you, but you're right this time, young man.
So between the 2 McLarens, I prefer Norris.
But I think your mind is clear because you're at Lent. You haven't been drinking alcohol.
Don't worry, there's only 3 more Sundays away, and then we're back to the local league.
Okay, sorry to cut in front of you. What was your last thought?
Yeah. So I think I'm looking forward to Suzuka. That's going to be a complicated track. Again, Ferrari are going to be fast. They're going to do some stupid stuff. I mean, how could you have a faster car in the sprints? You disqualify yourself and make a slower car that gets you disqualified. Even in the race that you are doing well at a time, you get your strategy wrong. You put your tires wrong for your faster driver.
Yeah. Crazy.
I don't understand how Leclerc was so fast with that damaged front wing.
That was like
it gave him more downforce in the front on the high speed corners. Some crazy shit.
Yes,
all right, so what are your thoughts, Mr. Johnny?
Because even if he gave him the high speed, I mean, because it's like balance, it should be affecting him on the straights. It should have affected him negatively on the straights, which also didn't make sense. So,
that was phenomenal.
There's more questions and answers when it comes to Ferrari.
I don't understand.
Less of this. Ferrari.
But you know what it was? He was also light. He was light. But he was also lighter. He was lighter too, so that made
too much vino, too much of this, and not enough of this. I think that's
it looks like they're doing more than vino now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should stay off the white. They should stay off the white lines. Yeah, they should stay off the white lines.
No longer the black ones, the white ones. All right. Well, so tomorrow we'll continue. Follow me. Take us out with any last insights you have. And
I just feel I wanted to, give kudos to the Williams team as well. Albon finished 7th, and Carlos Sainz finished 10th. Carlos Sainz was able to sneak within a point, and I think the Williams team and the Haas team will be strong contenders for the midfield.
Yeah, they're the most improved team this year. Yeah. All right. So take us out of Follow Me. We'll be back tomorrow.
Okay, so it's been another brilliant Formula One show. We've been discussing Oscar Piastri's brilliant race in Shanghai, and with the guys with me, Johnny, Mustafa, and Kule. We'll see you again sometime during the week, possibly tomorrow. Bye for now.
Yeah. Have a good one, guys. Brilliant show. I love it.
Thanks, guys.